the immediate experience of God. This isn't really an argument for God's existence. Rather, it's the claim that you can know that God exists wholly apart from arguments, simply by immediately experiencing him. And let me clarify, by immediate here, I don't mean sudden. What I mean here is directly or unmediated, that you can have an experience of God that is not based upon argument, but is a direct experience of God, just as I need no arguments for the existence of my wife, because I experience her in a direct or immediate way. Now, this is the way that people in the Bible knew God. As Professor John Hick explains, God was known to them as a dynamic will interacting with their own wills, a sheer given reality, as inescapably to be reckoned with as destructive storm and life-giving sunshine. They did not think of God as an inferred entity, but as an experienced reality. To them, God was not an idea adopted by the mind or a conclusion to a syllogism, but an experiential reality that gave significance to their lives. Philosophers call beliefs like this properly basic beliefs. They aren't based on some other beliefs. Rather, they're part of the very foundations of a person's system of beliefs. Other properly basic beliefs would be the belief in the reality of the past, belief in the existence of the external world, and the presence of other minds besides your own. When you think about it, none of these beliefs can be proved. How could you prove that the world was not created 5 minutes ago with built-in traces of age, food in our stomachs from the dinners we never really ate, memory traces in our brains of events that we never really experienced? How could you prove that you're not a brain in a vat of chemicals, wired up with electrodes, being stimulated by some mad scientist to make you think that you're here in this lecture listening to this talk? He might even be stimulating you to think that it's absurd that you could be a brain in a vat and not listening to this lecture. How could you prove that the other people in this room, that person sitting next to you, is not really just an android who exhibits all of the external behavior of an entity with an interior life, with a mind, when in reality he's just a soulless robot-like entity? Well, none of these things can be proved. But although these beliefs are simply basic for us, that doesn't mean that they're arbitrary. Rather, they're grounded in the sense that they're formed in the context of certain experiences. In the experiential context of seeing and hearing and feeling certain things, I naturally form the belief that there is a physical world of objects which I'm sensing. And thus my basic beliefs are not arbitrary. Rather, they're grounded appropriately in experience. There may be no way to prove such beliefs, and yet it's perfectly rational to hold them. In fact, you'd have to be crazy to think that the world was created 5 minutes ago, or that you were a brain in a vat. Such beliefs are not merely basic, but properly basic. Now, in exactly the same way, belief in God is, for those who know him, a properly basic belief grounded in our experience of God. And we can summarize this consideration as follows. 1, beliefs that are appropriately grounded may be rationally accepted as basic beliefs not grounded on argument. 2, belief that the biblical God exists is appropriately grounded. 3, therefore, belief that the biblical God exists may be rationally accepted as a basic belief not grounded on argument. Now, if this is right, then there's a danger that arguments for God's existence could actually distract your attention from God himself. If you're sincerely seeking God, then God will make his reality evident to you. The Bible promises, draw near to God, and he will draw near to you. We mustn't so focus on the external proofs that we fail to hear the inner voice of God speaking to our own hearts. For those who listen, God becomes an immediate reality in their lives.